Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Really excited to talk about what we're going to delve into today, and that can improve your health and your overall wellness. And it's something you need to start thinking about now because it is the winter and you'll be needing to soon plant for a garden at home. Have you ever thought about that? What are the benefits? Where do we start? She knows. She's somebody who helps with wellness coaching, timeline therapy, hypnosis, NLP, and so much more. From myquantumheal.com, Dr. Cecilia Cervantes is back with us. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything's wonderful. The weather's good down here. I'm just ready to go and get working on my garden.
I have said that for years and I had the space to do it. I knew where I was going to do it. Never, I regretfully never did it. And then I sold that house in June. So I'm in between houses, so don't have a place for a garden, but always wanted to. And then I see from friends, even on Facebook, posting stuff that they're growing and how excited they are. And it's one of those things I feel like once you start, it's like fantastic, right?
Oh, it's great because now you have a connection to your food. You're growing it, you're tasting it. You see how it happens, and you realize the difference between something that's grown fresh in your own backyard, or if you go to a farmer's market, it's such a difference. It's clean food. I don't recommend using pesticides, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it grows. So you want to take some things into consideration when you want to start a garden. Start thinking about it, doing a little research. Start small, pick a small space. And for you, because you're in between places, you can't even start a small container garden.
Sure.
One pot. That's all you have to do.
Yep. When you grow, Cecilia, what are you growing?
I like to grow little cherry tomatoes, lettuce, some spinach, and I like to do a lot of herbs. Herbs are pretty easy, and you can use it, year round in your
Mm.
kitchen. You can even dry some of those herbs and keep them in your kitchen and use them year round. You can even freeze some things, so it can last you.
Yeah, unlike vegetables, which are obviously fantastic, but having the herbs can last a much longer time. I am addicted to all of them, and I really do mean that. It's almost a running joke. I'll put basil on just about anything.
Mm. I love
Oregano.
basil.
Oh God, I'll just eat the leaves. I don't care. It's so good. There's just something about it. You said pesticides before. Obviously, that is the goal, not to use them in your garden. How do you control pests?
Well, you can plant certain companion plants that deter pets. So you want to learn about that. Planting things next to things that are going to keep the pests away uh, is one way to do it. It's the way I do it. I don't use pesticides. Of course, why would I want to eat toxins?
Right.
So I want a nice clean garden. Um, so you want to start learning about gardens. How do you take care of different little problems that come along, and insects and fungus and things like that? Start learning now because produce is getting very expensive.
And then there's that. Yeah. When you
Yes.
look back over your gardening history, what if you could have done something different, or what did you learn that was just like, oh, that's how that works. I should have done that.
Right. You want to pick a good spot. Watch how the sun hits that spot that you pick. Certain plants need more sunlight during the day than others. So you can pick plants that need more sun and put them in a sunny spot. If they need some shade, put them in a shady spot or underneath something that will give it shade. So you want to pick the right spot for the plant. Um, Also, watering is something that you have to be careful with. Make sure that you can have a source of water for your plants. Otherwise, a few bad days of heat, you could lose them. So watering, sun, and your soil also is also important. What is your soil like? You can get it tested. You can send it to a state agency or what have you
Mhm.
and test the soil. Make sure that you have enough nutrients in the soil. And if not, that you can feed the soil. You can build the soil, make it healthy. You can use compost. So set up a little composting area. That's
Mm.
important as well. And then you're doing things in a good fashion.
We we
Using Go ahead.
we talked about herbs. Are they relatively easy to grow versus, let's say, vegetables?
I find them easier to grow than vegetables. I myself, um, they can grow pretty fast. Some of them,
Mhm.
of course, conditions have to be right. I love to grow basil, and once you get that going, you can have a source of basil for quite a while. So they need to be planted in the right place with the right soil, having enough sun, having enough water. The conditions are what's important. And you can do a beautiful little herb garden. It might be a little easier to take care of in certain respects, um, and just keep it going year after year.
In your opinion, what's the easiest vegetable to grow?
The easiest vegetable to
And
grow.
again, that's it in your experience. Somebody might say, hands down, tomatoes, whatever. Stuff that you've grown so far.
Uh, Spinach
Really?
has been, yeah, there's certain varieties. It depends on the variety. So you want to know, what varieties are you growing? Some
Hmm.
will be easier than others. And again, if the conditions are just right, you can have good luck with certain vegetables and not so good luck with others.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on where you are because everybody's soil is
Yeah.
different, so it might accommodate differently. I love spinach. I had it last night as a side dish at a restaurant, and I will
Mm.
admit, probably shouldn't have done this, but I had it sautéed with oil and stuff in there. I could have had it steamed, but I said to myself, I'm going to treat myself, and it was
If you
good.
have it, yeah, if you cook it with olive oil, then that's pretty healthy. That's
Yeah,
good. You're getting a good fat.
you don't know what they're doing in the kitchen there at the restaurant, but it's still spinach, so it's not so bad.
Right. Oh, no, I love to make spinach. I will cut up some shallots and some garlic and put in some olive oil and saute it.
Oh,
So delicious.
oh, with a little garlic in there. Oof, there.
Love garlic.
Oh, same here. You can, and it's good for you, right?
Garlic is great for you, great for your heart, great for your blood pressure, great for many things. It's very anti-inflammatory and, on and on. It's wonderful.
Yeah, there is something to be said, when you're growing your own stuff because you're accountable for it. Listen, you could buy organic vegetables, so at least you're closer to knowing what's there. But to your point, the prices are going up, especially for organic. I'll always buy organic. Doesn't matter what the price is, unless it gets insanely expensive, but you know that you're doing something better for yourself.
Exactly. And if it's very expensive, well then occasionally treat yourself with that certain vegetable that's very expensive. But if you can grow some of this, you would appreciate it. You can also do aquaponics. That's something that's taking off quite a bit. So
Yes.
there, and you could get a great harvest with that.
Oh my gosh. I have one friend in Florida and he is like the tower garden guru. And for anybody that doesn't know what a tower garden is, it's just this big, call it a 5 foot plastic structure where you put plants in, little tiny plants just sprouting. And on the back end of it, it's receiving water and nutrients continuously or on a timer. You can add grow lights to it and you can put it anywhere indoors. And but the grow lights make up for not having a sunny spot. It was just incredible how fast it grew for my friend. He is now a guru and the moderator of a Facebook group that has like 20,000 people, 20,000 fans on there. And that's you go on there and that's where you learn about it.
Yes, and that's the great thing is that you can learn about any type of gardening online nowadays. There's a lot of material there. There's lots of books, and just start somewhere. It'll take you somewhere else, and you'll never look back, really.
Isn't it funny, Cecilia? Here we are in 2023, and with all the technology and everything we got out there, and here we are talking about living off the land, essentially, just like they did, 1,000 years ago, whatever.
And then you have this connection to your food that is incredible. There's an appreciation
Yes.
for how things are made, how they're grown, and how it tastes. Such a difference.
Let's go there now with that. Coming out of your garden, as opposed to buying something in a grocery store, do you really notice a completely different taste? Like it is so much fresher and just a complete difference.
It's an incredible difference.
Wow.
What people don't know is, some people don't know this, that some vegetables that you might see in the supermarkets out of season. So, well, how do they get there? Well, they store them in big warehouses and irradiate them to keep them from rotting away, so that they can sell them at a later time.
Did not know that. It was my assumption that they find a place in the world where they're still growing. Wow. Okay. So we're talking about, let's say, well, tropical fruits can come year round, depending on where they bring them in from. But I guess to keep the cost down, if they have fruits
Yes.
locally or in the United States, when you say irradiate, what exactly is going on there?
Um, I don't know. They're doing something to it, some kind of process
Okay.
that keeps them from rotting.
Wow. And that can't be good next to the pesticides that are probably in it, unless it's organic. Can't be good, except, when you take a look at what they do, even to make it look good in the store, putting chemicals, dyes, waxes on fruit and vegetables just so it looks good when it's there in the stand.
Right. So this is where I prefer to shop locally
Hmm.
and get to know the farmers, go to farmers markets. We need more of those. Um, and then shop seasonally, whatever's in season, that's what you're going to eat. If you want to preserve some of your own stuff out of season, freeze it. Some people also will go as far as to dehydrate it, or things like
Hmm.
that. There's other ways, but at least you know what you're getting.
In your garden, do you start with a juvenile plant, or do you grow from seed, or a mix of both?
I usually, because of timing, because of time constraints, I start with a juvenile plant. And there are people who are very good at setting up a whole area where they can start it from seed indoors early on, before the winter is out. And they've got grow lights, and they've got little pots that they grow them in, or what have you. If you have that kind of time and space, go ahead and do it. Some plants do very well that way, and some are challenging to grow that way. I have to admit that I don't have the time to do it from seed.
Mm-hmm.
It's important though. I mean, it's good to have some seeds to store away, or heirloom seeds, because they are going to be, free of any pesticides or anything like that. Some of the plants, some people will say, "Oh, I'll get seeds from the vegetables I buy in the store." Some of those seeds won't grow. Why? Because if it's not organic, it may have been treated with something like glyphosate, and that changes the structure of the genetic structure, and those seeds will not grow.
Let's talk about seeds. When you buy them, are there, and I'm completely unfamiliar with this, but are there organic seeds?
Yes,
Okay. So you should be looking for that.
you should be looking for that from organic sources. Look for the organic, look for the heirloom. Yeah, find out where the source of where you're getting your seeds from, and learn how to store them in a cool, dry place. Um, so that hopefully, the older they get, it's going to affect it, but at least you'll have some for the future. it's not a bad idea to do that.
What's your favorite vegetables that you have in your garden, or the ones that you're planting this year?
I am going to make a new list of what I'm going to attempt to grow.
Okay.
I love doing carrots. I don't know if you've ever eaten carrots right from the ground.
No.
Oh my God, so delicious.
And I like carrots. I don't love them. They kind of bore me after a while, but I'm just having in my mind what it must taste like when it's so fresh. And it's probably a game changer. It's probably sweet coming out of the ground.
Sweet and it's got an earthy taste to it. It's just
Hmm.
it tastes alive. Let me
Okay.
put it that way. You want food that is alive. Taste you're getting it right from the ground. I love to pick things off of the vine and eat them. I have a fig tree. I do that all the time.
Hmm.
That's my treat, my snack. It's like candy. I just pick it off of the branch and put it in my mouth. So delicious.
I got a silly question for you, but do you wash that stuff before you eat it?
Uh, if I get it right from the tree, no, I brush it off.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's not on the ground. I'm not picking it off the ground.
And
I'm
that's
picking it right off the tree.
and that's where I'm going with that because what do we do when we get the fruits and vegetables from the supermarket, grocery store? You always make sure you wash them. Why? Because it's gone from here to here to there to there. You don't even know where it's been, but here it is hanging on a tree in a backyard. You know that you didn't use pesticides. You know there's no deadly chemicals there. So it stands to reason. Why do you even have to wash it? What a great feeling.
It's wonderful. Yeah, because the ones from the market, um, they could have pesticides on them. You always want to wash. If it's not organic, even if it is organic, I would still wash it.
Yeah.
Get any residue off of it, just in case. You don't know if the farmer next door to the organic farmer is using pesticides. Stuff gets carried with the wind. We have to think about all these things.
Yeah, unfortunately. And if it's sitting in a warehouse, you don't know if there were pests in the warehouse as well. There's all these, unknown factors and forces. But when you buy locally, at least you have a better feeling for what's going on. And again, like you said, you can talk to the farmer, and his staff and learn a little bit more.
Right. And see, what energy do they have? Do they have a nice, wonderful energy? This is the energy they're going to put into what they do and what they grow.
Hmm.
There's always that.
I That's interesting because you're an energy person, so you can pick up on that. You're in tune with it. When you meet somebody, I know we're digressing a little bit from growing, but it's kind of connected when you talked about the farmer. Do you pick up on somebody's energy?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to that. Um, it's just an internal knowing, and I can tell, well, how are they doing right now? What state are they in? What are they giving off in terms of energy?
What about, and this is an energy related question. What about when somebody is going through, let's say they normally have good energy, but then they're going through a challenging time, which could compromise their energy. Are you able to detect that, or is it just whatever they're putting out at that moment?
It depends on how good they are about hiding it, but I usually can tell,
Mm-hmm.
and by how they're behaving and even some of the words that they're using,
Mm,
or their attention in the moment. Are they
okay.
here with me now, or are they off worrying about something else?
Gotcha. Yeah. Which would indicate that they got something going on, even if they have great energy.
Right. And usually people will project onto you what's going on with them. So if people are upset about this, that, or the other thing, I don't take it personally. I realize, well, I just got here. It's not anything I could have done.
Hmm.
Something's going on with them.
I had a conversation with somebody the other day about energy vampires, where
Mm.
people are in your presence and they just feed off of your energy. Uh, in your opinion, is that a real thing?
Uh, yeah, it is. People can zap your energy,
Okay.
and that's what I guess you would refer to as an energy vampire. where if you are with them and it feels kind of heavy and daunting, and you leave there and you're like, oh, what, why am I so tired now? And that I find with people who are very negative.
Mm,
They take you down the negative road on everything. You
yeah.
know, they're looking at the world through those kind of glasses. That's draining. They'll drain your energy, you know, unless you kind of shield yourself from it, more or less.
You know what? When it happens, if you're mindful of it. And I had a situation, not a situation, but was at the gym the other day, and there's a guy that I'm friendly with, know him through the gym. We've hung out outside of the gym, a few times, groups of people. He tells everybody I'm his therapist because he's always dumping problems, and I give him advice. And he's there talking with me, and then there's another guy who he knows who's considerably younger, but they know each other somehow. And now it's the three of us, and we're all talking. And I felt like my energy was totally on this other guy, stranger, don't even know, name's Dan, just met him. I felt like we were in the same zone whereby the guy I know from the gym, call it a friend, he's got this negative energy. And everything is even if it's not something bad, it's got a negative energy slant to it. And it just got to the point where it's like, all right, guys, gotta go. And I wanted to move on, but I could tell in the eyes of his friend who I just met that he was picking up on it like, yeah, this guy is just like draining us, man. It's time to, go back to the workout. Um, my point here is like when you think of it, you can identify those people that are zapping your energy, whether they're doing it intentionally or not, right?
Yeah, you can, just notice how you feel around them. So every time I'm around this particular person, I end up feeling like I need a nap and or a
Mm.
drink.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just so negative. It will take your energy.
And I always approach it with an open mind. Well, maybe he'll be different today and the energy will be different. So, yeah, I'll say hi, we'll have a conversation, or he'll walk over and I'll engage in a conversation, but usually it doesn't change. Usually it doesn't.
And what we do in NLP is we do a pattern interrupt.
How do you do
There,
that?
how do you do that? Well, here they are in their little negative spiel, and then you just kind of say, "Hey, what's that over there? Did you see that?" You've just changed the subject.
Okay. And you've deflected away from what they're doing.
Yes, do
Hmm.
anything, act silly, pretend you're coughing. Oh my goodness, I gotta go. I got this cough, whatever. Interrupt the pattern and get out of there.
Yeah, it's almost like taking a rock and throwing it into a pond and the ripples. It's time to change the energy. That's energy too. That's
Yes,
energy as well, different type of energy, as is when you grow your own food. There's energy there, though everything is energy. So I've even
everything.
heard many times, maybe we've talked about this, that Reiki practitioners Reiki their food because they want the best outcome, including meats, because you don't know the situation of the animal, and maybe it was a stressful situation, and therefore you're ingesting that.
Exactly. How did they dispatch the animal? Was he in a state of extreme stress? Then he's pouring out all these stress hormones into the meat, and that's what you're eating. So, yeah, everything is energy.
Yeah.
Everything is energy. You walk into a space and you can feel the energy of the space. Um, is it positive? Is it negative? Do you feel good here? Or do you feel like you want to get out? I've I've felt that before where I've just said, you know what, I have to go. And I leave. That's it. We're
Yep.
done.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's you know it when you feel it. It's
Yes.
getting in tune with it. Knowing the signs, the feeling that you get when you walk into a room and or you go to a party and you just either you feel, wow, this is really good. I'm glad we're here. I'm going to stay for a while, or you walk into another one and say, something's not right here. You know what? I'm going to get out of here early. Just not feeling right. It's the energy of the people.
Exactly.
Energy of people. Yeah.
Yeah. At this stage of my life, if something doesn't feel good, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. You know, isn't it interesting, Cecilia? As you get older, your tolerance, I call it your patience for that kind of stuff or that negative energy starts. It's much smaller. Like when I was younger, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hang out a little bit longer. Well, I'll suck it up a little bit. Not anymore. It's like, why do I want to do that? Why do I want to be around negative people?
You don't have to put up with it, and you
No.
realize you don't have to. And then it's very empowering if you take your energy back and you leave.
Yeah. Well, I think it also goes back to what we talked about once before, self-care. It's like taking care of yourself, realizing the symbols, the signs of what's going on there. Um, Quick final thought. And we're not endorsing here or anything, but
Yeah.
are there any vendors that you buy any of your farming, growing supplies from, a distributor that you feel comfortable with their seeds or anything that come to mind?
Oh,
I know
trying
it's
to remember
I know it's
names.
January, so it's you haven't
Yeah.
been touching that stuff in a while, but I don't know if there was any names that resonate or companies.
There's one that has heirloom seeds on its name, and I can't remember the exact name, but you know, there's some you can read on the packages, that they are heirloom,
And what
and
is that? What does that
that's
mean
what you
for
want to
any
look for.
somebody's not
Those
sure?
are older seeds. They're not genetically modified. You don't
Okay.
want anything genetically modified, and the heirloom seeds, they've been using them or keeping them from these heirloom plants, these older plants that haven't been modified. Um, and that's probably going to be your best bet. And then there are some private people out there who grow their own things and then sell the seeds. Like
Uh,
here's a name for you, Strictly Medicinals.
okay. All
I
right.
love I love his stuff. And so uh, some people who write books on organic gardening may also have a source of seeds that they sell. So now you have this connection and you know who's putting it out, who's making it.
I appreciate
There
that.
are, yeah, and then there's some seed saver groups out there. You can look for organic seed savers. Um, Ask the farmers too,
Hmm.
if they have seeds that they sell. Sometimes they do. And then when you start growing your stuff, learn how to save your seeds.
True. Yeah. And that's where I was going with that. Even heirloom seeds as a novice, I don't even know what that meant. I wasn't totally sure. But why would you even want to start? You're growing a garden and you have genetically engineered seeds. It's almost it's like shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
seeds won't even grow, to tell you the truth.
Really?
And yeah, they're genetically modified to not reproduce. So if you're going to get a genetically modified vegetable or fruit or whatever and try to grow those seeds, good luck.
Wow. Okay. The stuff we learn, and that's why we're here. All good stuff. Start thinking about that if you're going to do a garden, because you got to get, you know, talking about March and April. Some stuff you want to start planting or planning for it, depending on where you live in the country. Your website is myquantumheal.com. There's a lot of information on there about healing, about wellness, about diet, nutrition, and Dr. Cecilia Cervantes. Always great having you on here. Really is.
It's always a lot of fun for me too.
Yeah, learned so
Yeah.
much and look forward next time we get a chance to get together.
Have a great weekend. Thank
You
you,
too.
Steve.
Thank you so much. We're coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.